Hello, this is Angelique Marie of Heart Evolver. And for all those that I know and work with, and those that I have yet to work with, I welcome you to this introduction to a course that I am unrolling that is called The Science of Happiness, or The Science of Joy. Actually, that's what I went with. But the science of joy is something that not only can be discovered like a recipe, but implemented in our lives. And so in this course, while it is based on the principles of neuroscience and the effects of vocal vibration, how to use the voice with mantras and meditation, and how these practices can start to unravel true joy in one's life. My experience is that happiness sometimes it comes and goes. It's more like weather, where joy can be an underlying form of more permanent, maintained reality when we know how to get there, and that there are very simple ways to get there. So in this course, we will be meeting on the new moon or very close to it, and the full moon or very close to it. And so we'll meet twice a month, and in each of those meetings, we will be going over a specific mantra, a basic meditation practice to work with the mantra, and then how to specifically direct that energy, the energy of the mantra itself, whether it's through the voice or through the internal practice of it. So, directed materials. So this would not be something you would want to go without. Our mala. And I strongly suggest that anyone who's new to meditation gets, or new to a mala practice, which are just prayer beads. Mala means prayer beads, that they should get 108 prayer beads. Sometimes mala come with additional dividing beads at 4 points. A point about 21 down, and then 21 here, and then 21 here, and then there's the top bead, or what is known as the Buddha bead. This is not a religious class, and you will not be inundated with the bindings and trappings of religion, but instead how to use some Eastern practices to enhance whatever religion or spiritual pathway of your choice. So with mala, we'll learn a bit about the science of working with mala and how to use them specifically with the fingers, and how to move them and what they begin to do. So a little spoiler alert is they begin to connect the area at the frontal lobe while you're using them. So in the beginning, it's not as easy. When someone's new to mala, it can seem a little tricky. But as you become used to them, as you get better at working with them, they are part of what catalyzes the connection at the frontal lobe. Well, in meditation, that's what we're seeking to do. That is not just seeking to do, but that is actually what the practice of meditation yields. It yields a synaptic connection at the frontal lobe and strengthens synaptic connection at the frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe, and when that synaptic connection is stronger, the stronger it is the more conscience a person has. So they begin to realize, and maybe more so than they did before, the difference between right and wrong, between what is true and what is untrue. Also discovering what is their personal truth and what is the lie, or where are the lies that they have been living or practicing, and then an opportunity, of course, to shift that, because you can't know if you don't know, and once you know, you can't not know. So, like it or not, those are the facts. So mala practice is really important, and it's part of how we can stay focused. So it is a focal point in meditation, and it keeps the mantra practice focused, and it keeps count of the mantras so that you don't have to count and speak a mantra at the same time. So if you are looking for mala, I would not look for a Chinese company. So a lot of them are on Amazon or eBay or perhaps Etsy. I wouldn't get anything fancy. For beginning practitioners or beginning users of mala, wood is really your best bet because it's the most grounding. And speaking mantras generates a very high vibration, a very clearing vibration, and an energy enhancing vibration. It raises our consciousness far quicker than sitting and meditating alone. And so can really give us a directed practice. Now, different malas, different mantras, there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different mantras, and we will not be covering all of them within this course. I have yet to decide how long this course will be, but it is very much so a join in at will. And if 5 people or more join into this course, then it will continue. Essentially with mantra is it's sort of similar to prayer, but it's also very different from prayer. In Western prayer, the words are what carry the meaning. In mantras, it's the sound that is the vehicle. So it's not about understanding what the words are, though I will talk about the meanings behind the mantras. That is less important. It's more about the vibration itself and where we are gathering sound from in ourselves and how we are directing it. And there are ways to direct it outward, and there are ways to direct it within the energy system, connecting to the chakra. And of course, with most of my courses, the primary chakra we will be connecting to is the central heart, because it is sincerely the highway, the avenue toward the becoming of the better self. So if you order these, typically they're about $10. Sometimes you can find them at metaphysical or crystal shops around wherever you live. So, and if you have trouble finding them, you can always communicate with me, and I will be more than glad to pick you some up and pop them in the mail. So there's that. So as we move through this course, we will be working with certain mantras. And so to give you an example of how extensive mantras can be, I will speak now the 100-syllable mantra. I need to get my mala to do that. All right. So now I'm going to speak the 100-syllable mantra 3 times. Typically, you speak a mantra 1 time, 3 times, 7 times, 11 times, 21 times, 54 times, 108 times, or multiples of 108, right? And there are different reasons and different practices and motivations for why you would choose those numbers, but it is said to not go off of those. So you wouldn't speak 8 of the mantras. And that is part of the reason why using mala can be so helpful, because it keeps track the mind can get a little lost. So we'll go over this longer one, which I am not going to teach to anybody, but you'll have a chance to hear it, to have an idea of how mantra vibration works. And as you do, wherever you're sitting, allow your back to be open and straight, not pushed or forced, but by allowing your sits bones to connect, whether you're sitting on the floor, on a meditation pillow, or in a chair. And see if you can keep your palms open, rested on your lap, and just connect to your own heart center. And sometimes it's easier to connect to our heart center, right? And we really want to make sure that it's the heart center, heart chakra center, not the organ itself. So if you follow, dependent on your torso size, this may be different for different people. But here we have the gullet, and just about 1.5 to 2 inches down is the high heart. And this is actually what is connected to the thymus. So we want to go even lower than that, down to the center, typically for women between the breasts, also for men between the breasts. So if this is an uncommon practice to you, or if you're having a little bit of a edgy day, bring your hand there, bring the tips of your fingers, right palm, and just connect right there. And how you connect is simply by feeling that space, sensing the warmth or the chill in that area. Both are okay. And sensing the pulse. Just allowing yourself to breathe. You're welcome to keep your eyes open or closed. Om Yizazaro Zamaya Manubalaya Vidazarinu Vareja Zerumi Boa Zurugayumi Boa Zugugayumi Boa Analadomi Boa Zayua Ziri Mibolaya Jaz Ayua Gairma Zujami Jidamu Ziri Amguruam O Bhagawan Zayua Dadagada Bidza Mami Munja Bediboa Mazamaya Zadua Umpi Om Bizazaru Zamaya Manubalaya Bizazarudinu Vareja Zarumi Boa Zuruga Yumi Boa Zubuga Yumi Boa Naladomi Boa Zayua Zidi Mibolaya Cha Sayawa Kairma Sujami Jidamu Ziriyam Guruam O Bhagawan Zayua Dadagada Biza Mami Munja Beziboa Mazamaya Zadua Umpe Om Bitazaru Zamaya Manubalaya Bitazarudinu Vareja Zarumi Boa Zuruga Yumi Boa Zubuga Yumi Boa Naladomi Boa Zayua Zidi Mibolaya Cha Sayawa Kairma Sujami Jidamu Ziriyam Guruam O Bhagawan Zayua Dadagada Bidza Mami Munja Beziboa Mazamaya Zadua Umpe. So after you speak a mantra, you then allow for the silence to be the next focus and to draw in the mantra that you've just spoken, the vibration that you have pumped out of your lips into your energy field, to draw that in through the nose, up through the third eye, circulating all the way down to the tailbone. Exhaling up from the pelvic bone, up through the belly button, up through the solar plexus, or where the rib cage meets in the front, up through the heart, throat, past the third eye, and exiting through the nose. Now allowing for all the air to exit the lungs from the bottom of them to the middle to the top. Two more of those, and then in sync with the final exhale, open the eyes. So there are mantras such as the 100-syllable mantra, and then there are very simple mantras. So we will be working with simple mantras. Simple is never less than. It really can produce an incredible result in your process. So among them, some of what we may be getting into is not just, some of you have learned Om Mani Padme Hum and its uses through working with me over the years. However, learning how to actually direct the energy of that mantra and how to move it in your system, as well how to deal with insecurities around the voice itself. A lot of folks get a little caught up. The ego starts to percolate around the idea of their making the sound of a mantra, or the idea that their voice isn't beautiful, when this really isn't a singing practice, but it has nothing to do with that anyway. The ego percolates when we believe we are not safe. So a great question I was recently reminded of is to ask yourself, when you get into a state of hyper judgment, why don't I feel safe? What in me feels threatened? And then you can deal with that piece of information. And that makes it a productive experience with the ego, rather than going to the place of, I'm not supposed to feel that way, I just want to stop judging, telling our own mind to shut up, which kind of unleashes war, and definitely does not yield a healthy or beneficial meditation practice. So we will be learning this and all kinds of things in the Science of Joy through practice course. And I am very excited to see you and to help you. So please inbox me if you do have any questions, and please feel free to share this intro class with any of your like-minded friends or in your circles, and let people choose for themselves. So I thank you so much for supporting this practice, for the practice of yours that you have developed that has brought you here, and for your desire to awaken the becoming of the better self. So on that note, tally ho.